Good afternoon. This is Frank Uragwan with Grace Lutheran Church, along with Carrie Winger, who is doing the filming. And we are walking together, talking together. And we are actually next door in Ontario talking to Pastor Paul Malek. He is with St. Paul's Lutheran Church here in Ontario, Oregon. And we're interested. Tell the folks how you ended up here and just a little bit about your background. And by the way, I took the mask off. You know, pretty tough to know exactly what we should be doing, but we're both vaccinated, so we understand that I think it's appropriate, we can be maskless. Right?
That's what I understand.
That's your understanding? Okay. So That's where we are. But what about yourself?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you, Frank and Carrie, for inviting me to this video for Facebook, and I'm glad to join you. So, my history.
Yes.
I was an electrical engineer for 35 years.
35?
Yes.
Oh.
So, I got into the ministry at age 55. I started seminary. Actually, at 52, I started the synodically authorized minister like you guys are. Yeah. So I was a synodically authorized minister in Pocatello for a couple of years. And then I joined the seminary, and it was called the TEAM process, which is Theological Education for Emerging Ministries, which is made for people like us in small communities that don't have a pastor, can't afford a pastor.
Yes.
So Pocatello was pastor, left and went to Nashville, and he turned to me and he said, have you ever thought about the TEAM process? Yeah. Well, I had been on our Synod candidacy committee for several years prior to that.
You knew the ropes.
I knew the ropes.
Oh, yeah.
I was actually the chairman of the committee.
Oh, you really knew the ropes.
So now I have to go and interview to entrance, and I have to go to my own committee. And I'm sitting on one side being the chairman, and then they ask me to leave the room and come back in.
Yes, we're going to
interview.
Yeah.
I've never been so nervous in my life.
Oh,
I was shaking.
I would think
And the rest of the committee said, Paul, you act so calmly when you're chairman. When you stepped on the other side and you had to actually be a candidate for the ministry, you shook in your boots, and I really did. But by the time I went through approval, all was well, and they approved me. And I served in a little church in Firth, Idaho.
Okay.
Which is next to Second.
Yes.
Okay. No, not really. It's south of Idaho Falls. And it was a community of 95% LDS.
Oh, yes.
And just a few of us Lutherans and a few Assembly of God. It was a great community, and I loved them, but they just could not support a full-time pastor.
So you appreciate, yes.
And so my wife wanted to retire. My wife was a psych nurse for several years, and she worked at the women's prison and was tired of working at the women's prison because of the women there can be a hard thing to work with.
Yes.
She enjoyed her job, loved it, in fact, but she was ready to move on. So the opportunity came up to come to St. Paul. And that's been almost 2 years ago.
2 years. All right. When were you ordained?
I was ordained in 2017.
2017.
February of 2017.
4 years then. All right.
Yeah.
Second vocation?
Second vocation.
On the way.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of my life history.
Well, 35 years, gee, electrical engineer, this must be a dramatic life change. Tell us a little bit about what has been really something that you never really perhaps contemplated, and yet here it is.
So my wife said, I married a guy that looks at his shoes.
Really?
Yeah. I stared at my shoes a lot because I was an engineer. I don't want to deal with people.
Okay.
And now here I am out in front of people, and I've got to do sermons, and I got to look people in the eye. Yeah. I can't be looking at my shoes. So I've changed.
You've changed.
Yes.
Did she assist that process?
She really assists. She's my pastor.
Okay.
You know, being the psych nurse at the women's prison, she had a lot of psych background.
Yes, okay.
And
so
she helped me. She helped me a lot.
Good. All right.
We actually took a discipleship class together with our pastor in Pocatello. And through that, the both of us grew a lot. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here.
Was it all that you expected? Or tell us about, coming here. What has it been like for you and your wife?
Well, we bought a home in Payette, and it needed a lot of work. So we've been working on it and enjoying that, but then the pandemic hit. So we were only here from September 1st until March 8th was our last time in service last year. And
so tough to even get to know your
congregation.
Yeah.
Oh, it was really tough.
How in the world have you muddled along, I guess? That's what we say. We
muddled along. Well, we muddled along too. And they've been very, very supportive, and I really appreciate that. So we've made a lot of phone calls. We've had Bible study through Zoom, continued our council meetings through Zoom. So electronics was, even though I was an electrical engineer,
okay,
computers were not my forte.
Okay. Didn't have it all in hand.
No.
Oh, okay.
But we've muddled along, and it's been really good.
So what have you done to, I guess, try to have services and try to keep the community of faith going?
Well, since the pandemic started to dwindle a little bit and we were offered to go in church, just before Easter, we started to gather. In church, we wear the mask and we don't sing.
Yeah.
But we have a little area outside, just outside the church, that has a nice lawn area that we gather and we have service. And we get to sing.
You improvise.
Yes. Outside we get to take our masks off and we get to sing, as long as we keep our distance. And
Well, let me ask you this: in spite of all of this, have there been any unexpected, I guess, rays of light or silver linings?
Well, I'll tell you what. The people that have stepped up to help with the service have been awesome. We had a group that started our in-person committee, and they would research everything that's going on with the state and with the nation as far as COVID, and really helped us in development of how do we come back to church?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's the new normal going to be?
Yeah. Well, I don't think we will have a new normal. I think it will be constantly changing, and that's one thing that's good about God, is that He's a living God, and He's always changing, and we're changing with Him.
Yeah. Maybe He's forcing us to reach out a bit.
That's right.
More than we
That's
might
right.
have from our four walls.
Yes,
You think?
yes.
Well, I think just in what we've already discussed, anybody that listens to this probably would have all sorts of questions for you. We try not to drag it on too long, but we'd like to end. What, for you personally, when you wake up in the morning, you think, I am grateful for what?
The sunshine coming through our bedroom window.
Oh, it comes that direction, huh?
That comes right through our window. That wakes me up in the morning. And of course, it's been a lot earlier now that spring is here. Yes. But yeah, I love the sunshine coming in. We're not used to having this weather. Pocatello was a lot colder. And so being in this area and having the weather has been awesome.
We can't imagine not having sunshine.
That's right.
No matter what the situation, no matter what the subject, a ray of sunshine. Well, again, our thanks to Pastor Paul Malek. And boy, you can tell, walking together, talking together, we all are in it together. And God bless, and we hope you all have that ray of sunshine